From Lagos, Nigeria, this is News Central. I'm Felicity Ezewike. The top stories tonight. It was total confrontation at PDP National Office in Abuja as rival factions engage in free-for-all amid leadership tussle. Senate seeks recruitment of 100,000 more soldiers following Kogi State school abduction. House of Representatives vote on release of files on sex offender Jeffrey Epstein as Saudi's crown prince touts investment in U.S.
In business, Nigeria's foreign reserve rises to over $46 billion as CBN opens 20th anniversary colloquium of Monetary Policy Department.
And in sports, victorious Leopards receive hero welcomes in Kinshasa after securing ticket for next year Intercontinental World Cup playoff.
Welcome. Tonight begins now. We begin tonight with the free-for-all that ensued at the National Secretariat of the major opposition party, PDP, earlier in the day. The party witnessed a dramatic showdown at its national office in Abuja as two rival factions clashed in a fierce battle for control. What began as parallel meetings quickly escalated into a scene of political unrest, with party heavyweights, governors and supporters in total confrontation. News Central's Sumayya Abubakar tells us more.
In what seemed like a scene from a blockbuster movie, the two factions, ready to fight to the finish, converged on the vicinity of the Wadata Plaza, the national headquarters of the PDP, defying tear gas canisters and physical altercation. Both factions insisted on having parallel meetings at the venue.
What we're doing today is to have a meeting to discuss the affairs of the party, and that's all we're doing. There is no convention. What you saw there was a pre-Christmas party, and of course, the governor of Oyo State also opened the motor park garage. We invited party members to come and witness the commissioning.
If anybody loses their life in this place, Makinde and Mohammed should be held responsible. These people are violating court order.
Party chieftains and purported supporters of the FCT minister first occupied the neck hall of the party secretariat. However, matters escalated as soon as governors Makinde and Bala Mohammed arrived and were denied access to the premises.
We are going through hell. Our party is being destroyed by people from inside, and the relevant laws were invoked to get them out. And we are here to inaugurate our leaders and look at what is happening. So we are not going anywhere, even if they will kill us.
I want to call on President Trump. What is at stake is not just genocide against Nigerian Christians. He should come and save democracy in Nigeria. Democracy is under threat. I'm calling on all other developed nations, all advanced democracies, come and save Nigeria.
After several hours of brickbats amid consistent firing of tear gas by security operatives, the Turaki faction seemed to have gained control of the National Secretariat.
Nigerians are living witnesses to the struggle we've been engaged in with those renegade members of our party that were expelled in our national convention in Ibadan. They came here with armed talks that we did predicted to disrupt our meetings. Now we have driven them out of the secretariat, and as you can see, I have entered my office. I've assumed leadership as the elected national chairman.
After several hours of power struggle, calm now returns to the Wadata Plaza, the headquarters of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, and with the Kabiru Turaki's faction finally taking over the party secretariat. What happens next in this unfolding political blockbuster? In Abuja, for News Central, Sumayya Abubakar.
Blockbuster indeed. I'm now joined by the Deputy National Legal Advisor of the PDP faction, loyal to Nyesom Wike Oke Oswoha. We also have our correspondents who were on the ground at the party secretariat also earlier today, Sage Ibrahim and the lady you just saw, Sumayya Abubakar. Thank you all for being here tonight. Sumayya, I will start with you. Walk us through exactly what you saw at the Wadata Plaza. When did the situation begin to escalate?
Good evening, Felicity. Yes, I would say that it started with us, of course, making entrance into the Wadata Plaza. Now, what we saw was the fact that we were able to see the Samuel Anyao's, faction. We went up and were able to even have an interview with him. But on coming down, waiting, that was about 11 a.m., waiting for the meeting, we saw the entrance of the other faction, talking about Governor Mohammed and Turaki's faction and Shey Makinde joining in. So they came, of course, with a loud noise, and that was when we started feeling the pain of tear gas around. So there was, of course, a lot of push back to gain entrance, not just gaining entrance to the entire premises, but gaining entrance to the hall. Now, that is where the main battle ensued, so we were able to be there. Immediately, they gained the access. We went in, of course, with them. So they addressed the press at that moment. But immediately after they, finished that address, or were still in the middle of it, they were able to deliver a chunk of their message, but then the Anyao's faction came in to also show and exert their own power and authority. So after a while, the whole place, the aim of it, I think the aim of the back and forth was to get everybody out of the hall so that nothing goes on, no neck meeting or BOT meeting from any of the factions. So that was the aim for a while. And then later on, we went outside the premises, which everyone was standing, around. Okay. And then they still called us again inside, but then it was still the same back and forth. We were able to show that on the 12 p.m. news, which we saw. We got that back and forth right in there. There was a lot of tension, not a bit of it, a lot of tension with tear gas even thrown inside the hall to contain the situation. So I would say that has been the back and forth that transpired, this morning.
Sage, a lot of persons might not clearly understand what is behind all of this. Talk to us about, was it intentional, in the knowledge of the media, that these meetings were deliberately scheduled to cause what we saw today, or it was just a clash that was unexpected?
Well, good evening, Felicity. I would say that for all of us journalists who approached the headquarters of the People's Democratic Party, the Wadata Plaza, as it's popularly called, earlier today, our expectation definitely was that there's going to be some form of rancor. In fact, upon arrival there, and of course the ambience of the surroundings quite gave away what the expectation was going to be. We got there, and of course, armored personnel carrier was strategically positioned, just by the gate. We saw an anti-protest water cannon, strategically positioned where, of course, it should be able to reach any individuals who decide to be unruly. We also saw police officers heated, some of them, of course, armed with their tear gas canisters, which, of course, they so generously pelted us with. So I would say yes, upon arrival at the National Secretariat, there was some expectation that things were going to get ugly. Of course, this is not the first time that we've seen such happen, not even particularly with any political party, but the People's Democratic Party, itself. So yes, expectedly, there were some expectations that this was going to happen. Maybe we didn't expect it to escalate to the level that it did, but of course we expected some pushback, especially considering the fact that, the both faction had released circular announcing that they were going to have their meetings at the National Secretariat. For the Samuel Anyao faction and those purportedly loyal to Nyesom Wike, theirs was supposed to be a Board of Trustees meeting, which was supposed to follow with the National Executive Committee meeting. And of course, for the Mohammed Abdurrahman and for the Tanimu Turaki faction, which was elected over the weekend in a convention that the Samuel Anyanwu faction now calls as illegitimate. They to have their inaugural National Working Committee meeting.
Sagi, I think we have some clarity on that as well. Just a quick one for you, Sumayya, before you go. We understand there was also protesting staff on the other side. What can you tell us about their demand? Was it linked to salaries, restructuring, or something else?
I would say that in terms of, the protesting stuff, there was no clarity of what, they want. At some point, it was a bit confusing on what part, this person is, until you hear the person, calling particular names to say, I'm going to, if I should see this person, I'm going to attack this person on a personal level. And that, it's a bit confusing on what is going on. So I would say we don't know the details of that, particular staff, what they want. But based on what we saw was a clear division and then group of members on ground where this person is just starting his own complaints and authority. And when you hear them, you tend to hear just by whisper of one name, that, okay, this one is from this for this faction and the other one is for the other faction. Basically, I would say that's all. But I have to point out that in terms of this particular chaos that happened, the both parties are saying the same thing, which is they want, a strong party that would align and bring the glory of the old PDP. But so far, I don't think what we saw was heading towards that right direction. But both parties, especially both factions, also emphasize that at the end of the day, they are going to achieve what they feel that PDP should be.
We have, I think I'll hold on to the two of you for a little longer. I know it's been a long day. Let's bring in Mr. Oke Osoham to give us his reaction to the violent scenes witnessed today at the party headquarters. Good evening to you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Talk to us about...
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I put a question to you, sir. What happened today? What is your reaction? What does the party have to say about today's drama?
Thank you so much. I think my response to what happened today is, disappointment. I am disappointed, and the entire PDP members and stakeholders, the leaders of the party in the entire world, we are disappointed. It's embarrassing and unfortunate, because what actually played out today is lawlessness of some individuals who have decided to cause mayhem and to cause breakdown of law and order, who have not refused to obey the law, the extant laws of the land, and they refuse to obey the court judgments, because as far as I'm concerned, there was no convention. In the eyes of the law, what they purportedly heard that they had a convention in Abuja was not a convention that they said that produced any national executive member. What they did in Abuja was a gathering, an assembly of friends and associates, just like some of our people described it as a Christmas party. So because the party actually, we planned a convention, but then the last next meeting before today's emergency meeting, there was a court judgment that came.
Okay, I think we have a bit of challenge with the network from Oke Osoham's side, but let me come back to Sagi and just ask about questions around the... Okay, can you hear me again?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
What to do? Because I know.
Network can be a challenge. We apologize for the static coming from that end. Sagi, let me quickly ask you about the reports that staff were being owed, internal fractionalization of the party affecting that payment. What is the implication for the staff of that Wadada Plaza?
Basically, I would say that if staff actually protested today, it would definitely have one way or the other fizzled out, and we all got to see that these staffs actually demonstrated in front of the Wadata Plaza on the news, reasons being that everybody was so focused on the activities that's been going on inside, that I would say not so many people actually saw or observed those staffs outside. If that was the case, then I would say I hope that their issues are addressed. But from what I observed from outside of the Wadata Plaza, most individuals who were there were either supporters of the purported Wike faction or supporters of the Tanimu Turaki faction. And these individuals were outside of the gates chanting solidarity songs, singing and dancing, of course, up until the tear gas started flying in the air and the police dispersed all of the crowd. I must even add that in addition to the police even pelting us with tear gas, it was really surprising to see other security personnel as well running away from the tear gas canisters. Say precisely officials of the National Security and Civil Defense Corps and even police officers themselves. It was really surprising to see the police officers shooting tear gas at fellow police officers who had to run and take shelter with journalists such as myself at the back, of the building, bringing to question whether the police were working in a silo or not. Yes, Felicity.
Yes, again, does that give the indication that a lot of persons have been suggesting that there is also faction in the police when it comes to the PDP matter?
As a matter of fact, Felicity, I would share in that sentiment specifically because of what I observed by myself. The tear gas canister started coming in even within the premises of the Wadata Plaza. So it's one thing for you to tear gas demonstrators and supporters outside of the Wadata Plaza, but within the premises of the Wadata Plaza, inside of the neck hall, as Sumayya also confirmed, the tear gas canisters was not just pelted within the premises. Even those who were inside of the neck hall got to even benefit, permit me to use that word, from the tear gas canisters that was being shared by the police officers. So I would say whether you are a governor or you are an ordinary man in the streets, if you were at Wadata Plaza between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. this afternoon, it definitely means that one way or the other, you either ran from tear gas canisters or you were affected by tear gas canisters that was shot around the Wadata Plaza area.
All right, Sage and Sumayya, thank you so much for the coverage today. Unfortunately, we lost Oke Osoha. Hopefully, we will continue this conversation subsequently. For now, we're going on a short break. The news continues right after. You're watching tonight on News Central. A reminder of our top stories. It was total confrontation at PDP National Office in Abuja as rival factions engage in free-for-all amid leadership tussle. Senate seeks recruitment of 100,000 more soldiers following Kebbi State School abduction. And House of Representatives vote on release of files of sex offender Jeffrey Epstein as Saudi's Crown Prince touts investment in U.S. Nigeria's Senate has urged President Bola Tinubu to authorize the recruitment of 100,000 additional military personnel to tackle the growing threat of school abductions across the country. In the same vein, Nigeria's army has launched an intensified operation to rescue the schoolgirls abducted during Monday's deadly attack in Kebbi State. Chief of Army Staff Major General Waidi Shuaibu arrived in the state with senior commanders and ordered troops under Operation Fason Yama to maintain non-stop operations until all the girls are rescued. The Army Chief met with frontline troops, local vigilantes and hunters, urging close collaboration and intelligence-led missions. All right, we will be speaking to my colleague Jamil Mabai at the federal government school, who was at the federal government school. We will speak with him shortly. We don't have him right now. But in the interim, let's tell you that the national leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has thrown its weight behind allegations of genocide against Christians in the country. The claim was re-echoed by CAN during its fourth quarter National Executive Council meeting in Jos, the Plateau State capital. My colleague Chizoba Anyowe tells us more.
This is a gathering of Christian leaders in the north-central state of Plateau. The leader of the delegation, Archbishop Daniel Oko, says their visit to the state is intentional, purposeful, and deeply symbolic. Many of the leaders here say they throw their weight behind the allegations of genocide being perpetrated against Nigeria's Christian communities. They also condoled with the government and the people of the state over the recurrent attacks that have claimed many lives and property in the state.
Our presence in church today is not accidental. It is intentional, purposeful, and deeply symbolic. Man has spoken clearly in the past, and we have courageously spoken on this matter. And we stand unwaveringly by our position that there is Christian genocide in Nigeria.
Governor Caleb Mutfwang, represented by his deputy, Josephine Pio, expressed optimism that deliberations at the meeting will impact the growth of Plateau State and Nigeria at large.
As you deliberate over the next session, I urge you to reflect deeply on how the church can continue to be a light, shaping national discourse, strengthening moral values, and fostering unity among our people. Nigeria needs the church now more than ever.
Some other members of the clergy had contributions on the way forward for a safer society.
Let's not allow political position or political silver and gold to change the tone of our stand. We are the church and we are not the Islamic body. God bless you.
What will our future generation look like in Nigeria? If we don't speak now, are we handing over our children to the terrorists to control them? Our grandchildren? By keeping silence in a time like this, whether we like it or not, none of us will escape this question from God Almighty. Where is your brother?
For many in attendance, it is hoped that the meeting will deliberate on issues of national integration and cohesion for a better Nigeria. In Plateau State, for News Central, Chizoba.
Chizoba. Tonight returns shortly. And in Kogi State, Governor Usman Ododo has handed over 49 vehicles to boost security operations in the state. Governor Ododo, during the handover ceremony in Lokoja, the state capital, assured that the state government will work towards strengthening and modernizing the state security architecture. News Central's Mono Balagbogo reports.
A significant and clear boost to the war against crime in Kogi State. The donation of these vehicles by the state governor Usman Ododo is a clear statement to criminal elements and keen observers that it will no longer be business as usual. The donated vehicles include 12 refurbished vehicles, 10 donated units, and 27 motorcycles. Governor Ododo says that the intervention reflects the state government's sustained investment in strengthening and modernizing the security framework in the state.
Today's presentation of vehicles to our security formation marks another important milestone in our collective commitment to safeguarding lives, properties, and investment across our district.
The chairman of the Kogi State Security Trust Fund, Omeza Umar, says that the vehicles will improve coordination and support of personnel during operations. Also, State Security Advisor Jerry Omadara adds that the fleet will keep agencies ahead of criminals and signals that Kogi is ready for state police.
The provision of external vehicles or buses and motorcycles is a practical demonstration of the government's unwavering commitment to ensuring that every inch of Kogi State remains secure and peaceful.
With the provisions to the Kogi Integrated Service, which is more this morning, it's another step to tell you that Kogi is ready for state police.
The Commissioner of Police, Nasiru Kankarfi, thanked the state government for the gesture of goodwill and support for the State Security Trust Fund.
I want to thank you most sincerely on behalf of the beneficiaries, and I want to promise you that these vehicles you are giving and all the moral support and the financial support you are giving is well appreciated, and all this support you're giving will be put to good use.
With the latest distribution, the Kogi State government says that it is reinforcing its commitment to safeguarding lives and property while deepening collaboration with citizens, institutions, and security formations. In Kogi for News Central, Morno Balagubu.
The Kanu zone of the Academic Staff Union of Universities has called on the federal government to speed up negotiations with the union or face a full shutdown by lecturers. Speaking at a press briefing held in Kanu, the zonal coordinator, Abubakar Mohammed, says that the union is increasingly alarmed by government's alleged lukewarm attitude towards resolving long-standing concerns raised by the union. Mohammed says that members have become seriously dismayed and disillusioned with the snail's pace of renegotiation.
What government has offered to ASU will neither significantly improve the working conditions of Nigerian academics, nor attract scholars from other countries to take up teaching jobs in our universities. Despite this, some government agents have resorted to peddling false narratives that our demands had been substantially met. This raises doubt about government sincerity in our engagement. It also shows that the government favors propaganda over genuine efforts to timely resolve the outstanding issues in the ongoing renegotiation. The zone expresses profound concern regarding the continued and gross neglect of education sector. The 1 month ultimatum given to government to respond to our demands will soon lapse. Therefore, the zone is appealing to all stakeholders, traditional rulers, religious leaders, civil society organizations, trade unions, students and their parents, and other concerned Nigerians to prevail on the government to address all outstanding issues so as to avert another round of total shutdown of our universities.
Stakeholders, influential women from across corporate Nigeria, public service and the development sector gathered for the Women in Leadership Dinner, a key highlight of the 2025 Peak Performer Festival. News Centro's Placidia Iwekulie has more.
The two-day event brought together female executives, founders, policy shapers, and emerging leaders to explore how women can drive organizational excellence and long-term societal impact.
Nobody is going to keep quiet for you to be heard. You need to know when, where, and how to raise your voice, making it constructive, meaningful, and impactful, so that when you leave the hall, people are saying, when next is still coming.
Centered on the festival's theme, Powering People, Shaping Leaders, Sustaining Legacy, the event places a spotlight on the unique challenges women face in leadership and the balancing of professional and personal pressures.
A lot of leaders cannot see far. They can only see to solve short-term problems and to seek short-term opportunities. So vision. Another one is inclusion. That we need to ensure that everybody is included. Gender inclusion, generational inclusion, ethnic, tribal inclusion, religious inclusion, all around. And if we can bridge those gaps, Nigeria can deliver excellence and greatness.
Speakers at the session share strategies for building confidence, expanding influence, and leading with authenticity in an increasingly competitive environment.
Women should put themselves forward. They shouldn't be intimidated. And honestly, the soft power is obviously working. Learn to put yourself out there. You don't have to be hard. Maybe people think to do politics you need to be hard. No, you just need to know the right things to do. Follow the line, put yourself out there, write to the appropriate places, tick all the boxes. You also need to consult widely and put yourself out there. So, you know, we cannot do it sitting in our front rooms. You have to go out. So hopefully, and have a lovely collaborative team around you. When we do that, I think the sky is just the starting point for every woman that wants to go into politics or any leadership role.
People spend a lot of time on packaging. That same effort as women we spend on looking beautiful, you must spend on developing your content, because that is when you can truly be empowered, because you're ready on the inside for the person that's lifting you up.
Beyond the conversations, the gathering also provided a space for networking, collaboration, and mentorship. The event climaxed with the TPP 100 Awards, honoring individuals and women who are shaping change across various sectors.
I would like to say a big thank you to the organizers of this award for honoring me and giving me the opportunity to receive such an award. I also like to say a big thank you to my organization, which I represent, News Central TV, and also a big thank you to my colleagues as well. I mean, without them doing the great work, I wouldn't be receiving this award. So a big thank you to them as well. I mean, this award is just going to fuel my commitment to continuously leading with integrity, passion, empathy, and, strength. So I'm really grateful.
Participants say empowering women at leadership levels is essential for economic growth, innovation, and a more inclusive future, while maintaining the need for women to be the best versions of themselves.
Outside our shores, the U.S. House of Representatives has now begun voting on the release of files relating to late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. This follows months of stalling from Speaker Mike Johnson. The U.S. President Donald Trump's connection with Jeffrey has plagued him for months, with his name appearing in recently released emails from him. He said he has no connection to his crimes and has begun calling the issue a democratic hoax. Trump dropped his opposition to the bill that would release the files on Sunday, urging his fellow Republicans to vote for it and saying he would sign it into law should it pass. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is in Washington, D.C., meeting with Trump on his first visit to the U.S. in 8 years. Let's also Security Council has approved a U.S. drafted resolution that endorses Donald Trump's 20-point peace plan for Gaza. The resolution passed with 13 votes in favor, while Russia and China abstained. Established a new board of peace intended to serve as a temporary governing board for Gaza. There was also the approval of an international stabilization force that will operate in Gaza under UN authorization to help demilitarize Gaza and protect civilians. Funding for reconstruction will be managed by a trust fund supported by the World Bank. The ISF and Board of Peace are authorized until December 2027, but any extension must involve Egypt, Israel, and other participating states. Tonight, we'll be back with business, sports, and entertainment news. Don't go away.
This segment is brought to you by MoneyPoint.
Talking business now, Nigeria's foreign reserves have risen to $46.7 billion, the highest since 2018, driven by stronger investor inflows, improved oil earnings, and FX reforms. The CBN announced in Abuja the reserve level recorded on November 14, 2025, now provides 10.3 months of import cover. CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso said the Naira is strengthening, with the gap between official and BDC rates narrowing under 2%. He also reported easing inflation, with headline inflation falling to about 16.05% in October 2025, marking 7 months of disinflation and the lowest rate in 3 years. Away from that, Nigeria's startup ecosystem saw a sharp rebound in October 2025, attracting $93.4 million across 8 disclosed deals, plus 1 undisclosed round. This marks 130% a surge from September's total, driven largely by MoneyPoint's $90 million venture round backed by major global investors. The remaining deals spanned fintech, clean energy, agriculture, logistics, and education, signaling renewed investor confidence. MoneyPoint alone accounted for over 96% of total funding, strengthening its push to expand SME financial services and payment infrastructure across Africa. We'll bring you stock market report in a bit. Do stay with us. We'll bring you that in a bit. Now, looking at the equities markets, the All-Share Index closed at 144,986.51 points, down 1.26%. We see that market capitalization settled at 92.22 trillion naira, and the session leaned bearish as sell pressure persisted in a few key sectors. Now, talking about sectoral performance, the banking sector dropped 1.01%, reflecting some sort of continued weakness in tier 1 counters such as GTCO and Zenith Bank. Insurance managed a slight 0.07% in gain on light interest in select names like Custodian. Oil and gas declined 0.32% with mild pressure on players such as Owando, and we see that consumer goods dipped 0.02% in a quiet session that saw small movements in Nigerian breweries. Finally, industrial goods also a sharp drop of 4.48% as cement majors, including Dangote Cement, faced a renewed sell-offs. And that's it on Business News. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
This segment is brought to you by MoneyPoint.
Welcome to Sports Update. I'm Favor Itua. Nigeria's medal haul at the 6th Islamic Solidarity Games in Riyadh continues to grow after Pamela Amechi won silver in the women's discus with a throw of 56.99 meter, narrowly finishing behind Cameroon's Nora Atimoni, who threw 57.04 meter, while Turkey's Özlem Beserek claimed bronze with 55.56 meter. Meanwhile, Patience Okon-George also reached the women's 400 meter final after finishing second in a semi-final in a time of 52.92 seconds. The 3-time national champion will race for a medal on Wednesday night at the Prince Faisal bin Fahad Stadium. Nigeria's Kure Samuel will compete in the men's javelin final, aiming for a podium finish with his 77.45 meter personal best. Nigeria is currently 9th on the medals table with 6 gold, 7 silver, and 4 bronze medals. And now to football. The Democratic Republic of Congo's national team received a hero's welcome in Kinshasa after their dramatic penalty shootout win over Nigeria secured a place in the intercontinental playoffs for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Jubilant crowds lined the streets as the Leopards arrived, celebrating a result that has reignited national pride and renewed hope across the country. DR Congo now stands on the brink of returning to football's biggest stage for the first time in nearly 50 years.
Même si nous ne sommes pas qualifiés, mais nous avons fait un grand pas
que nous ne sommes pas aujourd'hui dans les rats derrière, parce qu'on est déjà le premier des perdants. Nous sommes plus sûrs avec l'appui du chef de l'État et avec le système de notre entraîneur et puis l'équipe que nous avons, qu'on va affronter même l'Irak et que ce soit la Bolivie, on va faire face et nous.
Still talking football, Iraqi secured a dramatic 2-1 victory over the United Arab Emirates on Tuesday in the second leg of the Asian playoff ending the sport in the Intercontinental Playoff for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The first half ended goalless despite several attempts from both sides. The UAE opened the scoring in the 52nd minute through forward Sial Lucas putting pressure on the home team. Iraq responded strongly with striker Mehmet scoring the equalizer in the 66th minute after being set up by midfielder Amir Al-Amari to revive the home crowd. And in the 17th minute of added time, Al-Amari converted a penalty to secure the win. Iraq joined the DR Congo, Bolivia, New Caledonia and 2 qualifiers from CONCACAF for the Intercontinental Playoff, which will take place in March next year. And that wraps it up on Sports Update. Up next is Entertainment with Edewo.
Time for entertainment news, and Adewa has the details.
Hi, Felicity. How you doing?
I'm good.
There's a lot of drama in entertainment space.
So everywhere.
Everywhere. Let me bring you up to speed. Now, yesterday, popular Nigerian activist, Very Dark Man, and popular comedian, Mr. Jollof, turned a routine United Nigeria airline flight from Asaba to Lagos into a wrestling ring. Yeah, their long-running online beef exploded during boarding, a chaos that left passengers scared and the plane delayed for hours. Now today, both men dropped apology videos on Instagram. Mr. Jollof, who is the SSA on new media to the Delta State governor, insisted he's not a violent person and only defended himself after VDM kept provoking him. He apologized to the airline passengers, his wife, his kids, his boss, swearing it would never happen again. While VDM, on the other hand, was more direct. He said he acted, irresponsibly. He apologized and promised that this kind of drama wouldn't repeat itself on any flight or a bus. Now, Nigerians are glad they are owning up to it and everything, but plenty still want arrests or lifetime flight bans. Felicity, what do you think? Do you think the apology is enough for that misconduct?
When an intentional act is done and we do the perfunctory thing of apologizing to soothe ego, I personally don't think this should have our attention as much. But since it's there, they've done the needful, perhaps we can now move on.
Okay, I believe so as well. Perhaps we can now move on. Now moving on to something very interesting as well as Cardi B, her Am I the Drama is officially a 3-time platinum smash hit, moving 3 million units in under 3 months. That's huge. The first album of 2025 to hit that milestone and the decade's top certified female rap project. Dropped on September 19th, the album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 with 200,000 units, marking Cardi B's second consecutive chart-topping album and the biggest opening week for a female R&B hip-hop project this year. She also remains the only female rapper whose first 2 albums debuted at #1, packed with heaters like her Grammy-nominated hit Outside and star-studded features from Janet Jackson, Lizzo, and Summer Walker. Now, the album has been hailed as a major return to form. This win firmly cements Cardi B as a powerhouse in rap and underscores the album's massive commercial impact. Big ups for Cardi B, if I should say so myself. Well, that's all we have on entertainment tonight, by the way.
We end the bulletin tonight with a breaking news. Vice President Kashim Shettima has commiserated with Kebbi State government over an attack on the federal government school where 25 girls were abducted on Sunday. In his visit to the state, the Vice President assured parents and guardians of the kidnapped schoolgirls that the government will ensure their quick release. He commended Governor Mohammed Nasir Idris for the efforts made to avert the kidnapping. Meanwhile, President Tinubu, in a statement signed by his spokesperson, Bayo Nanuga, also sent his condolences to the military over the death of the Guardian soldiers, Brigadier General Musa Uba, who paid the ultimate price while on active duty fighting insurgents in Borno State. And that's our package tonight. As always, we would appreciate your feedback. Send them using the phone number on your screen. You can follow us on social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. You can choose to watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, on Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. Thank you as always for your kind attention. Have a good night rest.